This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all, good morning. Yeah, I started the recording, right? Fine. Let me give you a quick recap here. So, in the yesterday's session, we were trying to discuss about the like how SQL comes into the picture when related to relational database, right? Yeah. Actually, EF Cod introduced that relational model, and he thought that there must be a language in order to communicate with the relational model, right? So that is where SQL comes into the picture, and we started using that SQL as a database language. Fine. So when giving this relational model and this language to the world, he had given some rules. So we discussed, out of these 12 rules, we discussed few rules. Getting? Which means, see, out of the 12 rules, there are some rules which will not, which is not giving us error, so we have to follow. So those rules we just discussed in the yesterday's session. So, and I shared this PPT with you, right? I hope you explored these rules. It's still fine, like whatever the things you explored, just keep with you. If you have any doubt in that, just come back to me, I'll be explain you the things. Okay. So out of these 12 rules, the main rules that we discussed in the yesterday's session are, the very first one is, your data must be in a relational model, which means the data must be in a table format, in a structured format. That is the first one. And for one cell, only one value need to be there. You can't take multiple values in one cell. You know what is mean by cell, right? Yesterday we tried to discuss the cell, the rows, the tuples, the attributes, the columns and all. So what I mean by attributes? Attributes are nothing but columns, right? Yeah. So records are nothing but rows. So I habituated calling records. So it's completely fine if you are habituated to call the rows as a records, and it's completely fine if you call it as a row. Anything is fine. Okay. So please mute yourself. Fine. And the next one is, how many primary keys we can have for a table? Only one. That is also a rule. If you are having a data in a table format, and we have a primary keys and foreign keys in general in the SQL, so we must have only one primary key. Only one primary key. So Bhavya, I will be taking two primary keys. What happens? We'll try to do that. Okay. It is not chargeable, right? We will try to do, like, we will try to take more than one primary key for a table, and let's see what happens. But the statement is only one primary key is allowed. I'll tell you why only one it is allowed. Okay, the moment we start doing it practically. And the next one, we can have n number of foreign keys for a table. Now, why we are using this primary key and foreign key? Yesterday we discussed, right? Yeah, don't forget it. See, try to remember all the points. I'm just giving a quick recap. I can't take much time, right? In order to have a relationship between the tables, that is where we are using primary key and foreign key. And again, we have a joins, that a different story. Why we have joins, and why not we are going for primary and foreign key, that I'll tell you. But now EF Code introduced these primary keys and foreign keys in order to have, or in order to build a relationship between the tables. And the next one, the next rule, the next very important rule is, when we have nulls in the SQL, you must treat the null systematically. So what is mean by systematically? So let's say you want to add something with null. You need to somehow use that null. Like for example, if you add some value to the zero, you will be getting that some value, right? Because you can't add any value to the null. Ultimately, you're going to get null as an output. In general, if I add 10 plus null, in general, I mean in real time, forget about SQL for now. So what I'm going to get? 10 as an output I'm going to get, right? But in the SQL, if you add 10 plus null, then you will be getting null as an output. If you want, I'll show you that one. So this is the major part in SQL. You have to treat null systematically. I'm sure if you attend the interviews, there will be n number of questions only based on the null. We have a special operator for the null, we have a special functions for the null. See, I posted one picture in the group, right? Go through that picture, you will be getting some idea regarding what are the things we have in SQL and what are the things that we are going to learn and what are the things that so far covered. Okay, yeah, this is what we discussed in the yesterday's session, and along with that, we just walked through the SQL Server UI, which is nothing but an user interface. Okay, if the user interface is good, somehow we are able to work on it. If it is not good, somehow we feel like neglecting the work. So that is where I took a time to explain the user interface for you. And still no worries if you are not habituated to use it, because daily we are going to practice the queries in that, and still fine, we can if you see it daily, somehow you'll get habituated. The next one, we look into this database definition and the CRUD operations. We just explore, like if you want, like CRUD operations are nothing but the operations which are allowed to perform on the database, no matter what kind of database you are using. Okay, so it can be any database. It can be Oracle, it can be SQL Server, it can be MyDB, it can be MySQL, something like this. Any database will allow these CRUD operations. If it is not allowing the CRUD operations, it is not a database. Remember this point. Yes. So after that overview on SQL, where we are going to have 5 sublanguages in the SQL. Out of these 5 sublanguages, each language, I mean, out of this one, we'll be having TSQL as well. TSQL is nothing but an advanced one, which we are going to cover in this course as well. But it's basic to learn all these 5 sublanguages. Okay. And from today onwards, we will be learning each and everything, individually and with the practical examples. Okay, fine. So data definition language, the very first concept, which is nothing but a data definition language, which is popularly known as DDL. Okay, people will not tell you that they need DDL. Sorry, that they need definition, or else that they are in use of some structure of the table. They'll not tell you like that. They just simply say that I need DDLs of this particular data. I need DDLs of this, insight. So DDLs are nothing but, it's just a structure. It's just a descriptive information. Okay, it's just an information about the objects inside the database. See, I have a definitions here. It simply deals with descriptions of a database schema and is used to create and modify the structure of the database objects in the database. DDL is a set of SQL commands used to create, modify, and delete database structures, but not data. See, only this is important. Your DDL, I mean, your sublanguage DDL is completely dependent on this particular, only these 3 words, but not data. DDL will never touch the data. Remember this point. It will never touch the data. What it is going to do is, it will only dealing with the structure of the database objects. Only the database objects. It might be views, it might be triggers, it might be tables, it might be some stored procedures, and anything. Stored procedure is something T-SQL. Okay, so it will never touch the data. Just remember this line for now. Okay, now what we can do with the DDL, like we know somehow the definition is you are dealing with the structure of the tables or structure of the database objects. Now, like what we can do with that, what we can do with DDL in the SQL or else in the database. Let's say you have a database and you created a table. Okay, see, create is a DDL command. You are going to create something in the database, right? Say creating a database itself a DDL, but create that keyword is nothing but a DDL command keyword. Now, after creating a table, you want to modify the table. I'm not talking about the data inside the table. I'm just talking about the structure of the table. Let's say I have created a table with 4 columns, and later on there is a business requirement that I need to add one more column into the table, or else I need to remove one column from the table, or else I need to remove the primary key, I need to add the primary key, I need to build some relationship between the tables. After creating the table, I'm talking about after creating the table, we need to alter those things, right? So all these changes are nothing but what? Alterating, right? Yes, we can create a table, we can alter a table. If you want, you can drop a table, at the same time you can truncate a table. So Bhavya, what is meant by drop and truncate? Both are same, right? There is a difference between that two. Keep this difference between drop and truncate as a important one. So what we can do with this is creating yeah, these are the commands you can do with the DDL. Okay, if you want to create something, we have a create command. If you want to drop something, we have a drop keyword. If you want to alter, you can we have an alter keyword. If you want to truncate, you have an truncate keyword. I'm not talking about the syntaxes, or I'm not talking about the whole process. We have such keywords, and those keywords help us to do so and so work. That's it. Syntaxes are different, keywords are different. Now, let us try to work on this. Okay, let us try to create some databases, create some tables. Let us try to drop some tables. Okay, so right now I don't have any database with me now. Let me create a new database for this batch. So, how can I create that? Like, where I can create this one? Yeah, if you open the SSMS, once it is downloaded, in the search bar you need to search for SSMS, which means SQL Server Management Studio. So once it is connected, you will be selecting the database engine and then connecting it to the server. Okay, that I have shown you yesterday, right? So this is where you will be getting a pop-up window like this, and you will be hitting the connect button, and you will be connecting it to the, are you connecting it to database? No, you're connecting it to the server. That's it. You're just connecting it to the engine. Generally, if you're using a laptop, there will be a separate engines for each and everything, right? If you're playing games, there is a gaming engine. If you are working on database, there will be a database engine. Yes, we have that even in the phones also. Okay, the moment you hit on the connect button, it is going to connect. So after that, I just want to run few commands. So where I can run, where I can write the code, or else where I can write a query, you can simply take a new query one. So this is the worksheet that opened for you. Okay, right now you are connected to what? Master database. See here, bottom right corner. Here you can see the database, and these two are the servers. Okay, fine. Now what I want to do is, first and foremost, I want to create a database. To create a database, we have a syntax called create database name. Only these three words. How can you create a database? Create. So create is a keyword. So keywords are always visible in a blue color. Remember that. You can't use keywords for, uh, creating a database, or you can't use keywords for table names or database names or else schema names, because somehow you face an issue while retrieving the data. But if there is a chance, or else if unexpectedly you used it while creating a table or while creating something, it's still fine, you can deal with that. Okay, you can achieve that error also. I'll tell you how. First, let us concentrate on creating a database. So creating a database, you no need to do anything, you just need to learn the command, the syntax. Okay, in the SQL, everything is a command, everything is a syntaxed one. If you didn't follow the syntax, make sure you will be getting an error. How the programming language is written, similar to this one, SQL is also written, but in a syntax format. Everything has a syntax. Now, let me create a database here. Create database. I need a database name. I'm just taking db underscore 10. So this is my um, syntax to create a database. Now, the moment I execute this one, somehow I'll be getting a new database. Now, my question is, how the naming format should be there for a database? There must be a standard practice, right? So, standard practice means what? It's up to you if you follow or not. It's not a rule, but the standard practice is something like throughout the world, everybody is following the same thing. Everybody is following the same thing. That particular thing is nothing but a standard practice. Now, in general, standard practice is nothing but you need to have capitals while creating a database. Somehow here you can see these two things that I have created, just like that. But most probably you need to have in a capital format. It's your wish if you go for underscore or not. In general, we use the underscore. So here try to take the capitals, db underscore 10. Then this is the standard practice to create a database. So Bhavya, if I take small letters, do you think it is not going to create in the database? No, it will be creating. I'm telling you, right? It is not a rule, it is just a practice. That's it. Now, how can you execute this one? Actually, I used a semicolon right here. So semicolon is nothing but we are indicating this is the end of this statement, or else this is end of the syntax. Okay, it's completely fine if you use that semicolon or not, but make sure that is end of the statement, you need to tell to the server. So try to use it. That's it. But it's not mandatory that you must use it. It's not that mandatory. You can use or you may not use. How can you execute this one? Just select it and go here and click on execute button, or else the shortcut is select this one and just hit Ctrl E. Okay, it got executed. See, command completed successfully, which means your database created successfully. Now where can you see your database? Where you can see your database? Here, right? So here we have a databases. Expand the databases here. So you're not getting your database here. Why? And we need to refresh now. Just refresh it. See, this is the one you have created. I mean, we have created just now. Expand this DB. We'll not be having any tables or anything here. Anything we don't see. The moment you create a database, you'll be getting all these things. Database diagrams, tables, views, all these things you will be getting. Because in the back end, this command is working. In the back end, this command is working in order to build all these things. For this database, you will be having all these, what I can say, uh, functionalities, or else all these topics commands. Okay, for every database, you will be getting all these things. Okay, fine. Um, I have created a database successfully. I need to use that database now. I need to use it. How can I use the database? Two things we have, I mean, two ways we have. One is manually, and the next one is by using a command. Now, manually, how can we do that? We have the drop down box here, right? Yes. So here you can see your database here. If you select this one, here it got changed to db underscore 10. And if you run the queries, you must know where the queries are running, right? So how can you, like if I ask in which database your queries are running, what you will say? So will you see here and tell me like in which database you are connected to? Yes, you can. At the same time, here also you can see. From these all results you will be getting from this database. Once you change it here, automatically it will be changing it here. And then you are connected to db underscore 10 database now. Okay. But every time it is not possible, right? Today you have written 100 lines of code and the code was perfect, and you have developed a pipeline there, and you have given to the client don't know like where he need to select the database, and client don't know in which database all the tables are there. What he'll do, he'll face an issue, right? So instead of doing it manually, you must do it with the code. So if you do it with the code, then your presence is not required. Everything will be done, I mean everything will be taken care of that code itself. Okay, so what is the code we have for I mean in order to use the database? Use database name, that's it. Use. So my database name is something like this. We have this one, right? Yeah. Now I'll be changing it to master itself. Okay, now here also it got changed to master. Now if I run this command, if I click on execute this command, do you think the database name will be changing here? I mean, master will be changed to db underscore 10. See, it got changed. So how you can write the code for it is, there is something called go keyword which help us to uh, tell to the engine that once the command got executed, go to the next line. Okay, go in general in English, go means what? Yeah, it is done, please go, something like this, right? Yeah, here also we are telling to the engine, or we are telling to the server that if the first command execution is done, go to the next line. So that in that case we use go keyword, that's it. Okay, for now we didn't require this go, because every command we are executing individually. Why we are executing individually? We are just learning the concept, that's it. At last we will try to write a code, that's it. That in that case we will use these things. Fine. So this is how you're going to use your database. Now I need to create a table. Okay, I need to create a table in db underscore 10 database. How can I do that? How can I do that? Simple, na? Select the database and create inside that database. Okay. As you said, I'll be creating a database. Sorry, I'll be creating a table here. So syntax to create a table. There are many ways to create a table. Okay. Uh, Before creating a table, we must know the data types. Okay. Why we must know the data types? I'll tell you. So create a table. I'm just giving a table name. Let me give a sample. I'll explain you this one. Um, Sorry. Now, if I execute this one, do you think I'm going to get the output? Yes, wrong answer. We'll not get any output. See? Incorrect syntax near semicolon. So, what kind of error it is? Syntax error. There is a syntax. There is some structured way to create a table, right? So, that is what I'm talking about. Where whatever you take, whatever the command you write, there is a syntax. You must follow the syntax. So to create a table, we have a syntax like this. So if you want to make something command, okay, I mean command line or a comment out something, so how can you comment out in SQL Server? By using this one, I mean by using underscore, not underscore, hyphen, by using hyphen, or by using forward slash star, and you can use whatever you want. And I mean how many lines you want, you can take it, and after that star forward slash. So here you can take whatever the thing you want to mention, whatever the information you want to give here. Either you can use hyphen or this one, anything is fine, in order to comment the line, in order to have a comment. Okay, so Bhavya, is it important? Of course it is important. In the interview also you will get such kind of question. Okay, make sure. Now what I'm just doing here is, I'm just giving you a syntax to create a table. First, you need to take a create keyword, and whatever you're creating, that you need to mention. I'm going to create a table, right? So, create table, and the table name you have to take. Table name, and after that, you must. Okay, okay. Let me put you a question here. In which scenario you can say that it is a table? Yesterday, if you remember, I opened one Excel, and in that Excel I have shown you two things, right? One with no columns and rows, one with columns and rows. Out of those two, which is table and which is a box? Thing which columns and rows is a table, right? So can we create a table without columns? Can we do it?
No.
Yes. See, there is no doubt, you can't create a table without columns. So can you create a table without rows? You can somehow have columns, right? So you can increase the rows if you want. So always remember, you if you want to create a table, you must have a column. So you need to take column names. So how many column names can a table support? How many column names? N number of. It can be anything. You know, you can take 10, you can take 12, you can take 100, you can take 50. Bhavya, are we really taking 50 columns in a table? No, because see, if you have more number of columns now, you will be getting some performance issue. That is where we break down the tables, and make sure that works properly. If there are less number of columns in a table, and it's still fine if it is necessary to have such kind of columns, I mean such number of columns, yeah, you can happily go for it. There is no limit to take such only these columns, only these columns. No, there is no such kind of limit. Yeah. So create table name of column name, and after that you must take a data type. You must take a data type, because as a human being, if I create a table, let me tell you with an example. Yeah. So as a human being, if I look into this image, I mean if I look into this one, I can say that this is the name column where I need to enter only the names into the table. This is a age column where I should enter only age into this particular column. Now how the SQL server, or else how database engine knows, like in this column only these values need to be inserted, into this column only these values need to be inserted, how that will know, right? It will not understand. So that is why it is necessary to take a data type. So we are telling to the server that, hey server, I'm creating a table with these columns. Into this column, only such kind of data need to be inserted. If I take name of varchar, I need to insert only string kind of data. Yeah, before that, here you need to take data types. So any idea like how many data types you have or something? After that you must take followed by a constraint. Constraints, so what is meant by constraints? Keep this in your mind, I'll be asking you after 10 to 15 minutes. Now, constraint, and like that you can take n number of columns, n number of data types, n number of constraints for a column. Okay, n number of constraint means you can't take 2 to 3 data types for one column. Getting, you can't take, 2 data types for one column. If there is a column, only one data type, that's it. Now let us concentrate on the data types that we have. um yeah, so see, these are all the data types that we have in the database. Maybe mostly you might heard about the data types previously in your classes, or if you learned some other programming language, there also we will be having that. But data types plays an important role in any language, in anything. Might be a structured one, it might be a programming one. Okay, so we have char, varchar, envarchar, int, float, money, date, date time. Only these data types we have. Now, if you want to store integer kind of data into the column, you must take int data type. Okay, if you want to store float kind of values, so float kind of values means, float kind of values means decimal values, no? We have 2.1, like 1.0, something like this. Point values are nothing but a decimal values, right? So if you want to store such kind of decimal values into a column, you must take a float data type. Float data type. So of course, if you want to save the salaries into the salary column, or else amount, then we have a money data type. So anything is fine. I probably use int, only int data type. Okay, so because it's up to you, anything is fine. If you want to use float, if you want to store any decimal values, and there is no option that you must use only float. Money, to store the money values like amounts, let's say sales amount, salary amount, something like this. Date, date column, date time, along with the time, if you want to store the date, then date time data type. So these int, float, money, date, date time is somehow clear. Okay, somehow clear. But what about this char, varchar, and envarchar? Very important. So char, varchar, envarchar, all those things we have in the SQL, not only SQL, in some other languages, we have a difference between those three data types. Even though we have a difference, those three data types help us to store the string kind of data. So what is meant by string? String is something like characters. So what is meant by characters? Alphabets, alphanumeric values. So alphabets are nothing but, A to Z. Alphanumeric is nothing but, including alphabets, you will be having numbers as well. The combination of alphabets and numbers are nothing but an alphanumeric values. So if you want to store alphabets along and alphanumeric values into a column, you must go for char, varchar, and envarchar data types. Now my question is, if these three data types are supporting to store, a character kind of data. Character means, only alphabets and alphanumerical values, these all nothing but a character values, or else string kind of data. Strings are nothing but what? Alphabets and alphanumerical values. So alphabets, in the sense, if I say Bhavya is a name, it is a string kind of data, because there I have an alphabets in that name. Words, sentences, all those are nothing but a strings. Getting? So if you want to store such kind of string data, you need to take char, varchar and nvarchar. So if these three are supporting, why we have three? Why don't we have only one data type? This is what my question now. What are those we have? Char, and the next one varchar, and the next one nvarchar. um there is a difference, a slight difference, but huge huge, it will affect the huge, maybe the storage or maybe the performance, anything. The difference is very small, but the effect is more. Char is a data type, help us to store the string kind of data. um Let us assume I used a char for name column. Okay, I'll try to explain this with an example. I have a table, okay, like this. Let me take only three columns. Yeah, so here I'll be taking name, here I'll be taking email, here I'll be taking gender. Okay, so these three columns I have. Now what I need is, um, I need to give a data type for all these three columns. Okay, so the functionality of char I'll tell you now. If I take char of 10, let us assume I'm just taking char of 10. So of course, char will store the string kind of data. If I take char of 10, let us assume I have taken char of 10 for name column. Okay, now I'm just inserting ram into this particular column. Okay, now how many characters we have in that name? RAM. Only three, right? Only three characters. R is one, A is another character, and M is another character. Three characters we have. Now, for the first record, the space is already allocated. Let us assume all these are 10. Okay, 10 call. I mean 10 space blocks. Okay, let us assume 10 space block. Don't try to count. Okay, I just taken randomly. Assume it has a 10 blocks. Okay, now I want to insert ram into the name column, which was having char of 10 data type. Okay, now I'm just inserting here r a em. Now what about the leftover space here? I want to insert another name, which is nothing but Lara. Okay, let us assume I want to insert this name. L A R A, Lara. Now I want to insert another name. Like that, I'm keep on inserting few records. Okay. Now, if I use char in the real time, right now I have only less, leftover space. In the real time, there might be a chance of having more leftover spaces. Char will not use the leftover space for the next value. Whatever the space it got lefted here, this will be wasted if you use char data type. Bhavya, how can we see this? It's a data type, right? Backend it is storing, but the concept is this one. The leftover space will not be utilized by the next value. So if it is not utilized by the next value, then what happens? Obviously, the storage issue, right? What you have to do, you have to buy extra storage now. So this is the major drawback. Now it is so simple. Even if it is even if the space is wasted, no worries, right? We can still go for char of 10. Right now we have only small amount of data, then it's completely fine. But in the real time, you will be dealing with lakhs of data, petabytes of data, terabytes of data, huge volumes of data. At that time, you can't buy the storage every time, right? What you have to do is you have to go for another data type, which is an advantage. I mean, this is a drawback, right? This drawback should be advantage in the next data type. If that is true, then we should go for that data type. We have varchar data type now. varchar of 10. The same I have taken. For the name column, I have taken varchar of 10, and before it was char of 10. So this is what happening. The leftover space is wasted, and if it is, if it is in the real time, we have to buy a storage. This is what the drawback we just understood now. Now, when it comes to varchar, if you store, if you want to store Ram name into the name column, if it is a varchar data type, you know what happens here? One record got inserted, and this was lefted like that. And there is another record which is nothing but Lara. You are inserting the next record now. You know where it is going to insert? It will be inserting from here as well. From here only it started inserting. Pavya, then we will get confusion, no? See, it is a data type, yeah. You are not going and checking anything in the backend. Okay, of course, you go and check, it will be in the binary format, which we can't understand a single word. In which format it is storing, no matter like how it is storing, it is going to give you the correct output. That is for sure. That is how the engine got designed. That is how the programming and the structured everything was designed. Okay, now tell me, the same issue are we seeing in the varchar of 10? No, right? See how much data you can store in the char of 10, the same amount of data you can store in the varchar of 10. See, I'm not sure. I think 256 bytes of data we can store in these data types. Okay, it will be helpful if you find it in the Google. You can post it in the group as well if you find such kind of information. Okay, fine. See, if I insert another record into this particular varchar data type, char data type column, then I'll be taking another row. If I insert into the varchar column, then I'll be inserting in, I'll be utilizing the leftover space for the first value, it seems. So there is an use of using varchar data type. So that is where people, using varchar data type. And even, like, see, it's completely fine if you have only one value, and that is for sure, like you're inserting only one value, and if you want to take care of one, then you can go for that data type, no worries. But still, if you want to take varchar, but my suggestion is go for varchar for every column. Every column. Like those who want to store the string kind of data, for that you can go for varchar. Even in the projects also we do the same thing. Okay, but for gender columns, generally we maintain, if it is a female F, if it is a male M, something like this, right? Only one character. For one character, we are always sure that only one character is inserted into that column. In that case, you can go for char of one. There is no use of taking varchar of one, right? So anything is fine, but you can still go for char of one because there is no waste of space, because we are sure only M or F we are going to insert into the gender column. Now, char varchar is fine, but what about n varchar? N varchar. Why we have n before varchar? See, uh, n varchar is nothing but Unicode. Unicode in the sense universal code. Let's say you have some special characters in the English language, right? See, varchar is going to allow maximum characters. Maximum values. So whatever you are able to see on your keyboard right now on your laptop, all those characters can be supported by varchar data type. Okay. The only thing is we have some Chinese characters, we have some Japanese characters, right? So for such kind of data, we go for nvarchar. But nowadays everything is in normalized manner. Normalized manner means even if you have Japanese character, make sure they need to convert into the English one. English is a standardized one throughout the world, right? So that is where we are going for only varchar. It's completely fine if you go for nvarchar, because var and nvarchar will give you the same functionality. In the n varchar also, if the space is left over, then that that space will be utilized by the next value. So anything is fine. Okay, now tell me, for name column, which data type we need to take for name? Yes. Oh, you're telling it. Fine, I'll help you out. So for name, you're going for varchar. For email, varchar. So see, remember how email will be there. You'll be having dot. You'll be having at the rate symbol. You'll be having alphanumerical values, right? So those can be supported by varchar. That is where I have given email as an example. And gender, you can use both char of one or else and varchar of one. Anything is fine. Okay, so this is all about the data types. Now I just want to create a table now. Okay, constraints I will tell you afterwards. Okay, why I have discussed only data type means you can't create a table without a data type. This is what my statement. Now let me prove that. So create a table, and I'm just taking sample one. See, the moment I take sample now, it is showing me in the blue color, which means it's a keyword. So don't try to take it. If it is necessary, I'll tell you how you need to take that keyword as a table name. But for now, I'm just taking sample underscore one as a table name. So make sure to have first character as a capital one. We have okay, I'll send you it in the group. Yeah, so I'll be taking first column as a name column. um Let me take, yes, name, sample name. Okay, and for this the data type, I'm not giving you the data type for now. And the next one I'm just taking email, and the next one I'm just taking gender. Okay, semicolon. Now let me execute this one and I'll show you error. The definition for column sname must include a data type. See, this is what the error I want to show you. What it is telling, it is not asking you to enter the data type. It is not asking you. It is telling you directly, you must take it. There is no option, you must include the data type. That is what it is telling us clearly. Now I'll be taking the data type. Here I'm just taking varchar of 10. Here also I'll be taking varchar of 10. And the gender I'll be taking char. Bhavya, you can take varchar of 1, no? Yeah, but I want to show you the char as well, right? Now, remember, I want to create a table in db underscore 10 database. Okay, I'm just creating it now. Am I creating the same table in master? So not master. In what, db underscore 10 database? Tell me that, we will concentrate on error later. The moment I execute this one, what you must make sure, that in which database it got selected and in which database your query is running. See, here you have a master and here also you have a master. In the master table I already have a table called sample one. That is where I'm getting the error. Actually, you can't take same names for the objects in the database. Let's say you have, see, for the people we usually can have the same names, right? You can identify me and some other Bhavya as well. But for the server, it will not understand just like that. You need to give each and everything very clearly. Okay, so that is why it is showing us an error. There is already an object named sample one in the database. So right now I'm just taking master database. That is why it is not allowing me to create it. If you want to do it, you can change the table name if you want. But right now I don't want to change my table name because I want to create the table in db underscore 10 database. Now I can change it to the db underscore 10 database. Now I'll be creating this particular command. See, command completed successfully. Now, where you can see this table? Where you can see this table? Refresh this one. How you can refresh it? Right click on the database that you are using and you have a refresh here. Click on it. Then you will be expanding the tables here. Then you will be seeing this table that you have created just now. So if you want to see the columns, just expand the table that you have created, and here you will be having the columns. Just expand those columns. Here you will be seeing the columns that you have taken. Okay, so null, null, null. Bhavya, we didn't take a null, but why we have null here? We will be discussing this in the constraints concept. Okay, I just want to give you a question now. I have one small question for you. Bhavya, you have given a syntax. I have given a syntax here, right? So create table, table name, column name of data type, and the constraint. But while creating a table, I didn't take in any constraint, but it got created. How? How it got created? Did I do any magic? No, because I don't know any magics. Simple. Data types are mandatory if you are creating a if you are creating a table along with the columns, data types are mandatory. But constraints, it's your wish. If you want to take a constraint, you can go for it. Otherwise, no. What is meant by constraint? It's a technical word. We are not understanding it. The constraint is nothing but a condition. Okay, so while creating a table, if you want to have any condition on top of the column, then you are going for the constraints. Right now, I don't have any conditions while creating a table, or else I don't want to take any condition for the column. So that is why I'm not using it. Okay, so it's not that mandatory to have a constraint while creating a table, but it is mandatory to have a data type for a table. This sentence is very important. You will be experiencing this question in the interview, I feel. Okay, fine. Now I just want you to explore on two things. Okay, explore what is schema. Okay, schema, right? Note down it. What is mean by schema? This is the first question you need to explore on it. And the next question is, um like, can we can we create a table with the same name, or else can we have a databases or the objects in the date objects in the database with the same name? Try it and let me know why we should not. Okay, I already told you answer for this one, but I want you to tell me the answer for it. Why we can't have the same name for different tables? Because as human beings, we have a name, similar names, right? Why not this one? Just give answer for it. Only these two questions I need. And the meanwhile, practice it. I'll be sending you a small assignment now, which means create a database and try to create a table with the data type. So all these data types, that's it. Just use all these data types and create a table. That's it. If you want, I'll be sending you a question. Okay, fine. So any doubts here? Anything you want to know? Yes, please. Second question is like, why we can't take a same name for any database object? For now, just take a table as an example. Okay, yeah. Any other things? Okay, if no questions, you can wind up the session. Thank you guys, thanks for your time, have a great day.